Tech 582 has been taunted online as one of the GOATs, one of the best ceramic spray detailers. Who said that? Look here, look here, look here, look here. Look, pop it all over the screen, right? All over the screen. It has been taunted for 4,000 reviews here, 2,000 reviews there. Facebook, this is my go-to, is what a lot of people say, and I have never used this product in my life. Why haven't you used it? Because I honestly thought the bottle looked cheap as all get out, right? It square, has like, that's me, right? First impressions, kind of like the girl you see across campus until she gets close and you're like, ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. No, I don't care if you got a precious person. You know what I'm saying is true, right? But I had to find out for myself why a lot of people love this and why these people said that this was amazing. I'm gonna play those clips.
All right, guys, this product gets 2 thumbs up from me. You don't know, slickness, gloss, a little bit of protection, way up there.
Basically, this ceramic detail spray is probably the best detail spray I've ever used.
All these people said that this was amazing. So in this video, I had to put it to the test. Never used it. The most I've ever used, so I'm being transparent, is that little bit to test the spray. I have never personally used it in a car, never used it in my detailing business. Actually just got it a couple of days ago in the mail to test it, full term testing. But you and I are gonna do my test. So I do a lot of testing for Thor, and the way I test stuff is kind of unique to me. You probably do it your way, but how I'm going to test this to get my first impressions is I'm going to cut the paint on my hood. I have a 6-year coating on there that I was testing. I'm going to cut half of it. I am going to actually wool cut it to make sure it's flat. We're going to test this with wets on the panel, so wetting, and then spraying it off and then washing it with a high pH chemical. And then we're going to test it as a standalone. We're going to test it on glass. We're going to test overspraying like my dad. Shout out to my dad. We're going to test it on the dirty side to see if it actually does clean some of the things. And this car is dirty, dirty, dirty. I'll play those clips as I talk. I haven't washed this car in 2 months because I have been testing the durability of the coatings of someone who doesn't wash their car often. You're like, why are you doing that? Because I'm testing coatings. That's why. But we're going to test this to see how does it live up to the hype? Has it stood the test of time? Now, these are my opinions. I did get this. This is not sponsored. I don't sell this. So first time you and I are going to go through this. Step number 1, smell. You're like, well, what smells objective? No, okay, that's cool. It's objective to you, but to me, it's important. It smells amazing. Every Spanish man dreams, okay? Every tropical paradise, coconut, banana, pineapple, smoothie. It's nuts. Smells insane. It actually does smell tremendous. I'm kind of impressed, actually. It might smell as good as lightning. Yeah, smell is check. Put a check here, check. All right, smell, pass the smell test. We're going to test it for slickness. We're going to test it for durability. We're going to test it for usability. And we're going to test it right now. Let's roll. All right, so I just rinseless washed the car, and I'm going to apply this. I'm going to overspray it. I want to see how slickness is. Smells insane. I'm going to take the first Diva towel, and right away, it is insanely slick. Test number 1, and I used it as a drying aid with the rinseless wash in the car. Rinseless wash I used is DIY detail, and slickness on this is real good. I also did another test of user experience when I overspray the panel, saturated way too much. It even says it don't use that much in the bag. But I wanted to test it as my father would on the panel, and I'll play those clips here as I talk. I was able to spray a lot, and if you look when we first started our testing here, that's how much I've used, and I was able to dry 0 streaks. What I did notice is crazy slickness off the bat. Slickness on wipe off, slickness on dry off. Panel looks glossy, it's a white car. I'm not gonna show you the hydrophobics now because I do have a pretty stout coating on the hood. What I'm gonna do is cut half of it, and then we're going to test it as a rinse aid to see if I get that vibe of rinse aid with this. Doesn't say you could do it that way. I'm just gonna try it. Then I'm gonna test it as a standalone, and then I am going to hit it with chemicals tomorrow. That's the goal. This is a couple days filming this, but I do want to give this a shot. I want to see how it performs with how alkaline soaps, to see from a ceramic detail perspective, how good is this product for the price. I am going to cut the paint on camera so you can see that, and then we're going to dry it, show you the water behavior, and then we're gonna do round 2 of our testing. But thus far, slickness, chef's kiss. So test number 2, how does it fare on a dirty surface as a detailer? Now, usually we use detailers, right? Not for this. This is an edge case. This is stupid. This is dumb. I'm gonna say everything that everyone's gonna put in the comment, but the goal here is to see if I get bird shoe. I said bird shoe, well, you know what I meant. If I get the bird poo-poo cuckoo on the back of the car or the hood, how does this work? Now, I'm not gonna use a rinseless wash. You can see that is caked on dirt here. And we're going to do this section just by spraying it. Spray one in my panel, treat it like a waterless wash, and I'm gonna roll it. Now remember, panel's not, panel is dirty. So I'm gonna do this section here to see how it interacts with dirt. Now you tell me, what do you think? What do you think? No glass cleaner. I see there's some hazing here, but let me see if I could spray that. Boom. Since it's clean now, and then come to a buff. And that is insane. That is check, okay? Check. I'm going to do a line, brother. And then I'm gonna go all the way this whole side here. I'm gonna use Pairway paint cleanser. It can be used to cut paint. It can be used to clean paint. This stuff is tremendous. Then show you the hydrophobics from one side, on the other, before I do technician's choice. And then we'll panel prep it. That side of the paint, we're gonna use Final Prep from Luminous as a panel prep. I want everything off. The beading is gone. It is flat and it is sticky. The coating I had on here was pretty freaking stout, so I had to cut it twice to get that off. So we're gonna finish panel prepping this, and I'm gonna show you the hydrophobics without the tape one side and the other side, just to show you that there is protection on this side versus this side. So we have this side of the car, flat, okay? This side of the car, you can see the hydrophobics. So this side of the car is flat, sticky. This side of the car has a coating on it, super hydrophobic layer. So that's what you see. So the goal is to test this Tech 89 as a drying aid to see if I could get any of that. See, look at that, it looks flat. Hydrophobic. You can see one side is super flat, one side is super hydrophobic, flat, sheeting, sticking, the other one's beading, running off super fast. Now we are going to test Tech 582 as a spray on, rinse off to see what kind of hydrophobics we have. Sticks, crazy hydrophobics. So as a drying aid, I'm just going to, as a rinse aid, I'm going to spray it all over. And I'll get up close with my other camera. You can see how when I sprayed it on, it starts to separate the water a bit here. Starts to separate the water. So I am going to spray that off to see if it gives it any hydrophobics. And then you can see how it starts to sheet water. Now, you can see the panel. Again, there's a flat spot here, but you can see it sheeting here. How hydrophobic it did just spraying a few spritz of that on the panel. Again, I want to show you the hydrophobics so everyone knows. what it was before, what is after. And if you see this right here on the actual car, you can see how hydrophobic that became as a spray on, rinse off. Awesome. Now I'm going to use it as a drying aid. So I'm going to spray it. Let me zoom you out. I am going to spray it on the car. Just the one side. I am going to dry it, and right away, the slickness is nuts. Now we're gonna test durability, and we'll come back tomorrow to test that out. But before that, I am going to apply this as just a dry application to show you that here. And what I mean by a dry application is usually when you wash clay, dry the car, and it's dry on the surface. I'll spray a couple on my panel, a couple sprays here, and I'll come back up. And this will give it a fighting chance to see how durable it really is when I do it dry. And again, zero smearing, no problem whatsoever. No, it doesn't give you streakiness. It's real good, and the buff off is pretty awesome. There you go. It is the next day here, and we'll go over what we did. So number one, we tested it on a dirty piece of the car, the glass, to see if it could clean up some stuff. It can. That was extreme case. Extreme case. I tested over spraying it on the panel, no streaks. I tested it as a drying aid, was hydrophobic. I tested it dry, easy to use, no streaks. Over tested, over applied dry, same idea. I let it sit until the next day, and we're gonna do the wash of, like, you know, if it's a week. I'm taking this test kind of extreme. I want to see after a few times, how does it react to high pH soap. For me, I want a detailer to last 2 or 3 washes. 4 or 5 is a plus, especially for customers or people buying this to use in their own personal car. Sometimes you can't get to your car and wash it. But before that test, I want to test it on glass bare. I'm going to clean the glass here with a glass cleaner, but I want to overspray it on glass. I want to see if I get the slickness on glass, and then see how that works. And then we'll get into the hood test of washing it with a high pH soap and how many washes and dries does it take to remove it or to weaken it. But remember, for me, detailers, I just want it to last 2 or 3 washes. If it goes past 2 or 3 washes, it's a banger. Let's do that. So the glass here is clean. I have Tech 582. I'm gonna spray. I'm gonna let it sit. The glass is already coated. I'm gonna spray on the plastic part too. And I'm overspraying it, you know, because that's what people do, is overspray. I'm gonna let that sit for a second and see what it does. I am going to spread it around, take the towel over, and even overspraying. What a gem. Even overspraying, there is zero, this clear. Get you in there, you can see that it's clear. Again, make sure you buff it all. That was a lot of product. You get slickness right away on the panel. So let me do that again to see if I could stack it with itself without it getting real smeary. And then you just want to buff that real good and let it ride. Nuts. Do it again. This is how I test everything. I just, you know, when I do testing for other brands or myself, I go to the extreme case, because if you don't do this like this, but you use it normal, then it's going to be amazing. So far, on glass, overuse does tremendous. Now, smearing here, we got a couple of smearing spots here. On this part right here, you can see that here. Just spray. And it just, even on black piano, trim. So this can work for all surfaces. So far, dirty, yes. On glass, even if you apply a lot, easy, no smearing. As a drying aid, awesome. As a regular, apply it dry, insane. Now let's go test the bucket part. So here's the panel with the current hydrophobics. Is non-coat. This side is solution. I let it sit for overnight. Listen to hydrophobics. That's rivaling. This is the hydrophobics of the ceramic coating. And this is, again, the niche's choice 582. So that's what it looks like currently. That is pretty bonkers. All right, that's pretty nuts. Labo Cosmetica mitt, and we're going to hit it with hard wash over and over to see how many. So we'll count this. This would be considered one wash here. Okay, just back and forth. Get it real good. And you can see how it's rejecting the soap on the panel itself. You can see it here, how it's rejecting the soap. And then we're going to spray that off here. Okay, here's what it looks like after one wash. The hydrophobics are still nuts. Again, I'm not hitting it with a pH balance, anything afterwards, just a high pH soap. Here is going on the surface. Again, this is a Reggie Cox special here from Labo Cosmetica. He created this mitt with his factory, and it's pretty gnarly. Put that in there. Spray it off. I mean, so far that is, that's third wash here. It's again, hard wash, 12 pH on the surface. And what we're doing is, look, you can see the slickness. Look at the mint. Yeah, it's slick. So the soap is slick itself, but also the ceramic spray detailer is pretty slick on this one. You can see it rejected it. Again, it's a detailer, 2 or 3 washes, maybe 4 is what I would want. This might give you over and above what you're looking for. Look at that. It looks like a coated side. I mean, this is way more hydrophobic, of course, and the water beading is tighter. But that is pretty gnarly. So far, we've done 2 washes with hard wash, again, in pH 12, and hasn't put a dent in it. I'm gonna do one more just to appease myself to see where it lies within. Is it gonna kill it? But so far, this thing is pretty stout for a detailer. The slickness is insane. The installation is insane. I mean, the whole package is pretty gnarly, and I can see why people love it. And then we're gonna test it with an acid wash, the wheel wash from Detail Co. It's a pH of 1 or 2. We're gonna hit it with that to see how it reacts, hit it again with the hard wash, and go from there to see if we could kill it. But right now, as an everyday person using this to get a ceramic type beading, this product is pretty nice. We're gonna hit this with acid. The goal here is to see if it could sustain a chemical of 1 to 12. If so, this might be the touch by God category. Like I said, I've never used it, and I'm just going to let it sit for a bit on the panel, spray it off to see if this will kill it. And the goal here is to see how stout this detailer is for a 20 bucks, $18, $40 for a gallon. And we'll let that sit. We'll come back and spray it off. And then I'll hit it with hard wash one more time to neutralize it. Then we'll dry and show you the hydrophobics bare. I'll let this sit for about a minute. I'm gonna spray it off. Make sure, now we'll spray hard wash straight. Spray it off here. Make sure to neutralize it. It did take a little bit of hit on it, but we'll see after I neutralize it what it looks like. Reggie's wash mint is pretty bananas. That's all I'm gonna say. If you haven't seen Reggie's wash mint, I think it's on a Labo store. We don't have it yet in the US, but he did justice with this wash mint. We're gonna neutralize the panel here. Spray it off. So it did weaken it a bit, but it wasn't like a substantial hit. But what I'm telling you is, if you have to get something that works, this is pretty. Yeah. Again, this is the coated side. It took zero. This takes zero. This one's hydrophobic is nuts. For a spray detailer, there it is. Well, I applied Yum Citrus Straight on here. I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and this will be the final test. It took acid like a champ. It took high pH soap wash 3 times like a champ. I'm gonna let this sit for as long as I can and let it be on a panel. Again, detailers I want to last like lightning, 2 or 3 washes. Like the detailers from the UK, maybe 3 or 4 washes. Like this is borderline sealant level nuts, because the application on this is some of the best application I've ever used. It's up there with Quiver, Clean by Pan. It's up there with Fine Lab. It's up there with DIY, Ceramic Gloss. I mean, this is up there with ease of use of all those. Sigma up there with that. 0 streaks, by the way, 0 streaks. So yeah, this is stout. I let the citrus sit for about 3 minutes, and I'm gonna spray it off of the whole car. And look, just to show you that this is technician's choice, I'm actually going to use Pairway on the wet car on this section to show you that it's a sealant. Okay, I am going to put it on wet. I'm overusing it a bit. I'm going to put it on wet. I'm going to take an applicator and I'm just going to rub this area. And I'm just going to show you that this is a sealant that is not masking a coating here, because I did buff it off. We're going to do this section, hopefully get a perfect square, come in. Pairway is a paint cleanser, so it's made to remove waxes, sealants, all that crap from a panel. Also to remove high spots from a coating. So it's pretty stout. It's pretty stout. We're going to keep rubbing that in like you would a polish. I just wanted to show you that there is no water behavior. It is flooding. There you go. So that's the test, right? Is it truly a sealant? Yes. Look, it's still on there, okay? Ceramic coating. Dead sealant. Dead sealant on the square that I did Pairway on. I don't know what else to say, but this lives up to the hype. It should put right here, it should put ceramic detail, spray, asterisk, exclamation mark, like the eggplant emoji, plus, because it is a detail spray. It acts like a detail spray, but it lasts like a sealant. That's what I'm saying. It's like watching my favorite show growing up, where Goku lands on a planet. They're like, his power level is only 400, and then he powers up, and he's like Super Saiyan 95 extra. Yeah, hidden powers. Okay, this, yes. 7 years later, 8 years later, however old this is, ECP Text Choice, pat on the back. You did it. All right. It lives up to the hype. As a drying aid, as a sealant, the application on glass, on dry panels, over applying it, did not streak. Durability, like I said, that's the asterisk, because it's like a sealant. It's nuts. Technician's choice, nuts. Links in the description below. Takes you to Amazon. Look, try it. You got to try it to find out. With that said, if you like this kind of content, hit the like, subscribe. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed. I do have a video coming soon where we're doing the giveaway for the business program thing. I'm going to have people come on live. We'll do it live. We'll spin the wheel for that. I haven't forgotten. And we'll see you next time. We're out.